SnoopDogg.com online radio with your free bets and sports picks. It is Thursday, September 4th, and you know what our game of the night is? We are spotlighting the first game of the NFL season, the 2025 season, Thursday Night Football on NBC, Cowboys at Eagles. It's our game of the night. Game ones, week ones of the NFL are always difficult, but we have some great numbers for you to help you make your decision if you are planning on betting on tonight's game. So we'll get right to it. Cowboys at the Eagles. Now I dipped into some great numbers to try to get as close as possible to what I think will be tonight's score for game one of the NFL season. So let's get to it. Cowboys at Eagles. Week ones are always tough. What do you base it off of? Preseason? Do you base it off of last year? So we got some different looks on some different numbers, some different averages, and we'll see where it gets us to. So Cowboys at the Eagles. Last season, the Cowboys averaged 20.6 points overall. They averaged 23.4 on the road. They are on the road tonight. Cowboys are going to Philadelphia. Philadelphia overall last season, this is 2024 numbers. Overall, 27.2 overall. They're 26.6 at home, points per game at home. We had an average score of, based on these last year's numbers, 27-22. The Philadelphia defense at home was giving up around 17 points last year. But again, these are last year's numbers. Based on last year, we have 27-22 in Philadelphia's favor. Philadelphia at home over the Eagles, 27-22 based on last year's numbers. Let's see if we stick to those numbers for our final score for tonight's game, 2025 season. ESPN did have this game opening up at minus 8.5 in the Eagles' favor. Point total 47.5 on ESPN, straight out of Vegas. So another statistic we did was to try to find, based on this year, where we think the points would be. Again, this is week one. What do we have to base it off of? Last year's numbers, we have 27-22 in the Eagles' favors. Obviously, things change. We do run them off of preseason numbers as well. However, some of these preseason players that these guys are betting on won't even be in the league. They're going to go back to being Kurt Warner and packing grocery bags at the grocery store as soon as preseason is over. So some of these guys that these guys and ladies are betting on, they're not even professional athletes. They're just filling the roster for preseason. They got a lot of talent. They show a lot of opportunity to make the team, but some of them don't even make the team. They just go back to their regular jobs, and then they are no longer professional athletes. So it's difficult to base numbers off of preseason. So what I did was I went on the first quarter of the preseason for both teams. Now listen to these numbers. Now, if you were to go to the Eagles preseason first quarter lines, and I'm basing them off the first quarter because in NFL preseason, the first quarter is most of the time, majority of the time, when the starters who will play the full games in the regular season play. So they play in the first quarter. So let's get down to it. The Eagles at home in their first game scored 7 points in the first quarter. In their second game at home, they scored 0 points. So the Eagles are averaging 3.5 points per quarter according to the preseason week one results starting roster, 3.5. So if they were to go to 3.5 and they were to play 4 quarters, they would have 14 points. Now listen to this. The Cowboys at home. Now the Cowboys are on the road for this game. At home during the preseason, first quarter, throughout the preseason, all week threes. In week one, they scored 14 points in the first quarter at home. In week two, they scored 7 points in the first quarter at home. But the Cowboys are not at home for this game. In the first quarter of their preseason Week 3 game on the road, first quarter they scored 0 points. Now, some of the starters may have been resting, getting ready for Week 1. This was Week 3. That may play a part in it. But this is Week 1. This is Week 3 of preseason, quarter 1. On the road, the only road game for the Cowboys, they scored 0 points in the first quarter. Now, if you were to go by those averages, you would have 14-0 in this game. If you were to go by the Eagles preseason first quarter results versus the Cowboys preseason on the road first quarter results versus the Eagles preseason first quarter at home results, you would get 14-0. You would get 14-0. Now, here's where it gets good, too. Preseason, all 3 games averaged in the first quarter. The Eagles have a final score of 3.3 because they only scored 3 points in the first quarter on their only road game in preseason. Now, the Cowboys scored 21 total points in the first quarter of their 2 home games. They scored 0 points in the first quarter of their road game. That gives them an average of 7 points of the first quarter scoring in each quarter, first quarter of each game in preseason. Now, if you were to put those averages to each quarter with the theory that the starters will hold their averages through each quarter based on the first quarter of the preseasons, you would have in that particular game, based on all the games averages from the Eagles and Cowboys in preseason week 1, 2, and 3 of the first quarter, you would have a score of 13-28 in the Cowboys' favor. So if you were to take the first quarter results of the first 3 weeks of NFL preseason and you were to take those averages and apply them to 4 quarters based on a full season game where the full starters will be playing each quarter, you would have the Cowboys 28-13 over the Eagles. Now, dating back to last year's statistics and last year's averages, the Eagles are better than the Cowboys in this particular game, 27-22. So 27-22 for last year's numbers, 28-13 for all the first quarter averages combined, home games and road games. If you were to apply them to four quarters, 28-13 in the Cowboys' favor. Last year's numbers are in the Eagles' favor. And if you were to only take the quarters of the home games versus road games, Eagles' home games first quarter in the preseason versus the Cowboys' 1 road game first quarter results in the preseason, you would have the Eagles 14-0. So the spread in this game is 8.5 in the Eagles' favor at home. Last year's numbers have them winning by 5, 27-22. First quarter results, home versus road, has the Eagles 14-0. And overall first quarter results, all 3 games, home and road, from the preseason, has the Cowboys 28-13. Let's see if live betting action has affected these numbers at all. We'll get right to them. It's going to be close no matter what. Game 1 of the NFL new season, primetime game, NBC. It most likely will go down to the wire. Spread, we have it at, based on live betting action, down a couple decimals from the opening line. It opened up at 8.5. We have live betting action bringing this line down to 8, which means Vegas, based on live betting action, is trying to get more people to bet on the Eagles. If they wanted them to bet on, trying to get more people to bet on Dallas. If they wanted them to bet on, I got to twist it up here. More people to bet on Philly. It opened up at Philly, minus 8.5. Live betting action has brought it down to 8. So that means people are betting on the Cowboys. And Vegas is trying to get more people to bet on the Eagles from the opening line. Based on the opening line, they're doing this to balance out both sides. So it looks as though a lot of live betting action, heavy betting action, has affected the line towards the Cowboys' favor. So Vegas has brought it down from 8.5 to 8 to make the line more attractive for Eagles fans to take this bet so they can balance out the bulk of the live betting action from the Dallas side. Remember, Vegas wins all the time because they win on juice. They're going to take the losers' money and they're going to pay the winners with it and put the juice in their pocket. The more balanced out both sides are, the better for Vegas. Over-under, we have it at 48.5. It looks like it went up 0.5 point based on live betting action. Opened up at 47.5. I have it at 48. These are based on all the casinos throughout the internet, about 15 or 16 different ones. We go through them. We get our averages, statistic, money line payouts through all the casinos. See where the best payouts are, the best action, where the live betting action is based on casinos, and see if it's affecting the opening line. Money line for Dallas, we had it at plus 334. Dallas to win outright. If you were to put down 100, you would win 334. Eagles, if you were to put down the Eagles, Eagles are minus 436. 436 big favorites. You would have to put down $436 to win just 100. So if you're looking for an indicator of where Vegas is, other than the point spread of minus 8.5, this money line payout shows that they are very confident that the Eagles will, no doubt, at the least win this game. Maybe not cover the point spread of 8.5. It looks like it's still at 8.5. Live betting action has brought it down to 8 in some casinos. You could probably find it at 8 from ESPN. We had it opening up at 8.5 for this game. So even if the Eagles, Vegas is confident at 436, put down $436 to win just 100. That indicates that Vegas is confident that the Eagles, at the least, will come out victorious in this game. So based on this, based on last year's numbers, 27 and 22, the Eagles wouldn't cover. Based on the first quarter lines, home versus road in preseason, the Eagles would win this game 14-0, and they would cover. Based on home and road for both teams, first quarter results, averages, and if you apply them to 4 quarters based on the starters' numbers of preseason, you would have 28-13 in the Cowboys' favor. What a tough game to pick. Always a tough game. Divisional game. Cowboys and Eagles always play each other tough. I am going with a 28-13 would be how many? 10, 11, you'd have 41. You'd have 41 points total. If 28-13 played out with the averages of preseason applied to all the quarters from the starters' first quarter results, you'd have the game would still go under. Vegas has this game pretty well balanced with the over-under at 48.5. It went up a point. Went up 0.5 point. That means a lot of people are betting on the over, and they're trying to make the under a bit more attractive to bettors. iSnoopDogg.com online radio with your free bets and sports picks has this game at I got the Eagles winning at home over the Cowboys and covering 14-0. iSnoopDogg.com online radio, free bets and sports picks. You heard my results. You heard how I got the numbers. I am going to go with the first quarter results of these players. I have a low-scoring game. I got Dallas not scoring too many points. I got a 14-0 game for Dallas. I was going to go with the 28-13, but Vegas has a heavy favorite for the Eagles. Last year's numbers, 27-22. This game goes under no matter what. The point spread is 8.5. I got the Eagles 14-0 in this game. And that is iSnoopDogg.com online radio, free bets and sports picks. It's NFL. NFL is here. We're NFL season, week 1, and we are in full effect. We got the Eagles beating the Cowboys in week 1 via SnoopDogg.com online radio, free bets and sports picks. NFL first week 1 pick in the books. Here we go. Eagles over the Cowboys, 14-0. Enjoy the game. Thanks for listening in. Have a great night. Tonight, go Eagles.